Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mission Employable podcast, where we're talking about all things workforce here in Iowa. My name is Ben Oldak, back from vacation from Fort Collins, Colorado, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kathy Leggett. Kathy, how's it going today?
It's going great. So glad to have you back, Ben. How was vacation?
Great. Yeah,
Nice.
It was nice. It was beautiful. Got to go up to the mountains, got to go to Rocky Mountain National Park, play some golf. It was awesome. And you held it down in my absence. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, we're excited about today's show because we are talking about a new job portal available to our veteran community, along with programs to assist veterans and their families through their career journey. Jamie Norton, Director of Veteran Workforce Programs, is here to tell us more about some of these awesome things that are going on in the veteran world. Welcome back to the show, Jamie. This is the first time that you're here with us, but you were here a little bit earlier in the life of the podcast with Ryan. So thanks for coming by.
Yep, thanks. It's great to be here. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Kathy.
Awesome. So first of all, just kind of tell us a little bit about your role here at Iowa Workforce Development for maybe some of the new listeners or people that maybe missed the first couple episodes that we had you on.
Yeah, absolutely. So my role has changed a little bit in the last 3 months. So in previous times I was on the podcast, I was our Veterans Workforce Program Coordinator overseeing one of our grants, veteran related. So about 3 months ago, we officially reorganized here internally, and which was a great thing because we actually got to bring all of our veteran workforce services and programs kind of under one umbrella. We fall under the American Job Center division, but we are labeled as like our Office of Veteran Workforce Services. So like you said, I'm the director of that Office of Veteran Workforce Services, or the bureau chief of overseeing the staff that fall under that. So really just providing like that leadership and management for the team members. 22 members currently on our team that I oversee, and we have such a talented group. They're all veterans themselves, which is great, and they're passionate about serving their fellow veterans. So really what my goal is to try to just provide direction and then get out of their way and let them do the awesome things that they're doing every day.
Yeah, real quick, can you kind of just distinct that between HomeBase Iowa and kind of like how that all works?
Yeah, absolutely. So both HomeBase Iowa and our Jobs for Veterans State Grant are kind of our two major, programs, so that they fall under our new rig organization structure. So honestly, what we try to just tell the public is, when it becomes between the two programs, we have, 13 dedicated veteran career planners that fall under our Jobs for Veterans State Grant, and we have 5 dedicated HomeBase Iowa career planners. So the biggest thing about them is, are under the grant, they serve different eligible populations of veterans and spouses and other identified populations, and through HomeBase Iowa, we're serving any other veteran and spouse that's either looking to come to Iowa or already in Iowa. And then additionally, under our Jobs for Veterans State Grant, we have 3 leavers, and they are the local veterans employment representatives who work directly with employers on, trying to tell them about the great things on attracting and hiring veterans and all the programs that are available to them.
So basically, at least what I'm gathering and what I want to reiterate, because I want everybody to know this, is we have a great team here to serve you no matter whether you're an employer, you're a veteran, you're from Iowa, you're here in Iowa, you're moving to Iowa, no matter what across the spectrum, we have a team here to help connect you, support you, anything like that. So just reach out.
Absolutely. That's the thing we tell everybody too, is I think unlike any other state, we are so lucky that we have both that JVSG grant and HomeBase Iowa, because we can really make sure any veteran or service member, whether they're transitioning out or maybe they're currently in the Guard or Reserves, we're going to serve anybody and make sure nobody falls through the cracks. I think that's the one thing that really sets us apart from other states, is having those 2 programs, and HomeBase Iowa really being that premier one to really attract and tell people about all the great things that are here in Iowa.
Right. So if you are a veteran or if you know a veteran, we want you here. So reach out.
Yeah, and I know a big piece of this is the new the IowaWorks.gov portal. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that's all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were so excited to get this portal officially launched. I think it was April 7th. Really, it's like a front-facing page to our IowaWorks system, but it's dedicated to getting information out there to our veterans, our transitioning service members, current service members. And really what we wanted to do is kind of showcase, why they should come to Iowa, for one, like all the great resources and benefits there are to coming to Iowa, just the great things that people don't really know about up front. And then we're really, we've got some great information in there for both on the job seeker side for veterans and how they can connect with employers through our IowaWorks system. So we help them get registered in the system. We show them different ways, that they can get connected with those employers. And then on the other side, too, for employers, it's for both of those our customers, the job seekers and the employers. So we have information in there for employers to talk about all the great best practices that might be available to them that they might not be aware of, and other resources as well.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, because I know that we had the Homebase Iowa portal, which I know did some job postings and things like that. How is this different from the HBI portal?
Yep. So last summer at HomeBase Iowa, the website's changed. It's still there. We still have information on there about HomeBase Iowa. But for job seekers or employers that get to that website first, they'll end up getting directed to our new portal now. And so you're right. Once upon a time, like if a job seeker was going through the website, they would, make a profile, submit a resume, and then it would kind of connect with employers. And that's similar resources that they can use IowaWorks for. So that's once a job seeker gets their account registered in the system and has a resume uploaded, they themselves can search for businesses that are, one maybe identified as Homebase Iowa businesses in the system, but are looking for veterans. So they can use that on their side, and employers can do the same thing on their end, where they can search for veterans and resumes and actually set up some of those automatic alerts through like our virtual recruiter, so that they can get matched up with veterans like they did in the previous the website.
So a couple of questions. I did go on the website, and it does look great. It just looks fantastic. And then I went in to do a little searching, like as an employer. Mm-hmm. So can you describe what does it take for an employer to set up? And I think it said veteran friendly employer. Can you talk about that? What that is, and does it take very long to set up an account so that then they can see? Because what I did is then I just searched like healthcare, mm-hmm. and like the level of education and stuff, and then a whole page of potential employees came up. So I just want to encourage businesses to do that. But can you talk about, does it take very long? What's that process?
Yeah, it does not take very long at all. I mean, all an employer really needs is they're going to need some of their specific employer information, like their FEIN, maybe UI identification number. In the end, it probably takes maybe 15 or so minutes, and we have a little guide on the portal as well that an employer can walk through that shows them how to set up an account. But you're right, like once, there is a search widget on that portal, so like an employer that has not registered, they can get so far where they can search for specific, like an MOS or, different filters that they can apply, and they can find those veteran resumes. But to actually see them, then they would have to go in and make sure they have actual account registered, so they can go in and view and get some names and see those resumes and get some more information.
Yeah. How attractive is having a portal like this to prospective veterans or their families who are considering relocating?
Well, we hope it's going to be really, beneficial. I mean, we're only a couple months into it now, and now we're actually starting to get some data, pulling from the system. So, but in the end, yeah, we really hope it's going to be beneficial and again, just really showcase the great amount of resources and benefits and things in Iowa that people probably don't think of day to day. And, it's a beautiful state, mm-hmm. state parks, beautiful scenery, and just vibrant communities all around the place that some people just have no idea about. So we're just really trying to showcase all those great benefits and resources that they could take advantage of if they can come to Iowa.
So can you talk now a little bit, Jamie, about Iowa's veteran population? Like, how big is it, or even just any information you can give? Because I'm kind of curious about that. I really don't have a grasp on it. So what does it look like? And then, any information you might have about how many veterans we are getting to move here in Iowa.
Yeah, so some recent census data shows that there could be around 175,000 veterans living in Iowa. And that's maybe a couple of years old. Mm-hmm. And so it's about a little over 7% of our state population is veterans. So now the harder number to get at is probably that number of transitioning service members coming back to Iowa. Some information or some data that we got not long ago, but it comes back from like 2021 Soldier for Life, and this is specific to the Army itself. So at that time, like in 2021, there was about 55,000, I think, active duty Army service members getting out, at that time. And they had identified in this report that there were 283 of those 55,000 were actually folks that had entered the service from Iowa.
Okay.
And then out of that number, when they were coming back, we actually had 129 that were coming back to Iowa from that 283. So as you can see, that's like a loss in the end of about 154 people. And so we really, our goal is to get everybody back.
Yes.
Obviously, if they came out from Iowa, they entered the service, and then they're getting out, whether they're separating before they hit retirement or they're retiring and coming back, we want to get as many of those service members coming back to, because they're going to bring a lot of skills and valuable things back to Iowa. The good news is there's out of those numbers as well, there were like 224 active duty members that transitioned to Iowa. That's because we had 95 non-Iowans at that time come back. Great. So the good news is we're getting people that were not originally from Iowa, and we want to increase that number too, because again, we know how valuable that population is, and so if when there's a gap, obviously, with the skilled or the jobs that employers are trying to fill. So we're wanting to bring in more people to Iowa as well. Yeah,
and I think that this portal offers a really great way for employers to be proactive in trying to bring some of those folks in, because if I recall, I think there were resumes posted from different areas of the state, but they could be posted from anywhere. Is that right? I mean,
yes,
and then an employer can reach out because somebody has the skills they want and try and say, hey, come to Iowa. So
anybody can register from anywhere in the country or outside of the country if there happen to be stationed somewhere else. So those resumes could be from anywhere, in the country or anywhere else.
Great.
Yeah, and I guess how do and maybe you can fill me in a little bit on this. Is that are states like very actively going to veterans who are getting ready to come out and basically pitching themselves as a place to land? I'm not exactly sure how it works when veterans are getting in those last couple months, getting ready to leave. Mm-hmm. Are there conferences where they can go to, or I guess how do states go out and put themselves out there? Is it a physical presence, or is it very much just online?
I would say it's getting back to a more of a physical presence with job and career fairs. So there's a lot of groups out there such as Recruit Military, Hiring Our Heroes, that will host job and career fairs across the country, a lot of them being around some of the major bases. Mm-hmm. So we have actually been getting more and more into that too, or really trying to attract more people. Just last week we had 2 of our home-based Iowa career planners go to St. Louis to an out-of-state career fair there, and they connected with probably 40 to 50 veterans or service members, and could talk to them about obviously the benefits of coming to Iowa, et cetera. So there are, I can't say what all other states are doing, but there's opportunities like that to, try to get connected with folks that are transitioning out.
Awesome.
So next, let's move a little different tangent, but what do you tell employers about the value of hiring veterans?
I mean, beyond some of the basics when it comes to just the leadership and teamwork aspects that they bring, there's lots of different reasons, that make more of a business sense. So some examples our veterans have, and they also leverage a lot of the advanced technical training that they gain while they're in the service. They're comfortable in discontinuous environments, so they're adept to handling changes really easy, very adaptable. They exhibit high levels of resiliency. So similarly, they can really handle stressful situations because of the time that they, were in the service, and just have a lot of different cross-cultural experiences, and working with diverse populations as well. So a lot of great things that any business would love to have when it comes to bringing them on as a team member. So it makes a lot of sense for employers and businesses to bring a veteran into their business.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we talked a lot about the portal and connecting virtually. What kind of in-person services are available at some of our Iowa Work centers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we still have 15, I believe, comprehensive American Job Centers around the state of Iowa. We call them Iowa Work Centers, providing lots of great one-on-one services. So we really, obviously, virtual is great. We really love people coming into the center, though, to get that one-on-one, face-to-face experiences. So, some of the services available with our career planners, they're providing, resume assistance, reviewing resumes, making sure They're demilitarized, so they're really kind of speaking to a civilian employer. Assistance with mock interviews, getting them ready and feeling so they feel comfortable getting in front of an employer for an interview. Also, job searching. We might help them search for jobs or show them how to search for jobs utilizing our systems as well. And then there's just a ton of great workshops that are available both in person and virtually through our American Job Centers. One of the things we're actually trying to get off the ground sometime soon is a virtual Veterans Job Club as well. So we hopefully will have that available in the near future too.
Yeah.
So, I've kind of heard bits and pieces of this, so I'm just curious. I'm going to throw it out there, Jamie, and if you don't know, that's fine. But my question is, employers. Sometimes I've heard of things that maybe services we provide to employers to help them feel confident that they have a good culture to support veteran employees. And so, is that something I think we are able to help employers, kind of assess and say, what do we need to do here to make sure that we can not only get veterans hired, but we can retain them and maybe grow that pool? Is there anything you can share on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that question. There are, we with our levers, those local veterans employment representatives, that's the one thing that they're really trying to do is both, train and educate employers on some of that cultural competency. We also have some free training available to employers that we still have out there. Psych Armor is somebody that we've partnered with to provide some of that training on establishing or building their military cultural competency, and also just different best practices that they can incorporate and examples of how they can do that within their business to, like you said, just because it's really important for an employer to have an environment where, a veteran feels comfortable, they have like a mission, something they can focus on, that they're very mission oriented. So if they have all those things in place, they're going to be much more likely to, keep them there and keep them happy, and they're really going to be a great employer asset to them.
Good, makes sense.
Yeah, and I know a lot of those things aren't like huge, big ticket items or anything like that. I mean, some of them are just small as having a veteran group in the office that meets, once a month or something like that, and just like these little kind of quality of life things that you might not think of.
Yeah, those employer resource groups, like you were talking about, having a mentor available, as an employer. So if there's a veteran already that's working there and they can, mentor a new veteran coming in, some of those things make all the difference.
Such a great population that we want to grow. So lots of ways to do that, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, I think we got.
I have one more question.
You got one more question.
Yeah,
Hit us.
If you could be any kind of dog, what kind would you be?
Any kind of dog. Oh boy, let's see. I'll say a Dalmatian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Any reason why?
Well, I've always loved the movie growing up, and then it'd be
I
fun
think
to
it's
maybe
'cause
ride
you
on
saw
a
my
fire
shirt.
truck.
Yeah.
And I did see Ben's shirt. That might have,
Well,
might
I
have
love
helped.
dogs, so I always like to know. So, no, I really had one other question, not that one, but are you from Iowa?
Yes, I am from
okay.
Northeast Iowa.
Oh, where? Where?
Waverly, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's where
Very
I grew
good.
up.
Bremer County.
That's right.
County.
Yep,
Yeah.
Bremer.
County. So, okay, good. All right. So you're a keeper.
Yep,
Okay,
I
good.
came back to the state of Iowa. That's
Good.
right. Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
When I got out. Yep.
Well, thanks again so much.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yes.
So
yes.
anyway, Jamie Norton, thank you so much for swinging by the podcast. Thanks so much for talking to us about this new portal and kind of like this new umbrella organization that is kind of really helping to bring in more veterans and keep the ones that we have. And we can't wait to hear how it goes in the next couple of months.
Yep, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thanks.
Jamie.